Hello everyone, and this is another time skip video. And yes, in this time skip video you're gonna find out all this time what the hell's been going on in NCG. But first, it's time to I'm not even gonna waste any time. Before we get into NCG, I'm gonna give you episodes 10 and 11 of Oblivion right now. So episode 10 of Oblivion. I fail to mention each time where each episode that I time skip is from, because I completely forgot. Episode 4 of Oblivion was in the Gund Arena in Cleveland. Episode 5 was in the Joe Louis Arena in Detroit. And episode 6 was in the Conseco Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. And episode 9 was in the Target Center in Minneapolis. So, here we go. Episode number 10. Basically, these 3 episodes are like the world tour of GCW. It started in the Air Canada Centre, Toronto. Tonight, Oblivion 10 is in the Bell Centre in Montreal. So, now where was I? Yes. So Oblivion's episode 10 starts with Sako 105 in the ring, the general manager of Oblivion, and he's ready to address the controversy stemming from the end of No Way Out. If you don't remember, Reaper X, in the main event, Sean O'Connor retained the GCW World Championship, and then the lights went out, and when the lights came back on, Reaper X was in the ring, who was the King of the Galaxy tournament winner, so he has a right to face the world champion Sean O'Connor at Ultimate Rumble. But then Iceman and Sako came on the Titantron and announced a few things in Iceman's contract that should guarantee him a world title match. That and the fact that it was revealed in stipulation that if Iceman does not win a championship by next season's Oblivion, any championship, then he is gone from GCW, possibly forever. So, with that, where was I? Oh yes, before he addresses that issue though, he has to address what went down in the CPV between Brett and Joey Thompson. Brett and Joey Thompson went into a no contest, like their match didn't even start. And Brent beat Joey down badly. And even after the match, at the end of the show, Brent beat Joey down in the back badly. It ended with Brent giving a knee trembler to Joey while he was near a car. Basically, during the brawl, Joey suffered numerous injuries, and he'll be out until the final episode of Oblivion before the Ultimate Rumble, a.k.a. Oblivion episode number 12. So while Joey has been punished enough, Brent still needs to be punished. So Sako decides that Brent Thompson is barred from this season's Ultimate Rumble match. Brent comes out and he's furious, saying Sako cannot do such a thing. Sako says that Yankee Boy 50, the GCW owner, agreed to this punishment, and as general manager, Sako can do whatever Sako wants. So then Brent takes a minute to think, and he offers a deal to Sako. He won't compete in the Ultimate Rumble match, but he announces that he wants an open challenge match for the CPV. Brent promises to compete against anyone that Sako and Yankee choose for him at the CPV. Sako decides to accept it, and we'll talk with Yankee later about Brent's opponent in the Ultimate Rumble CPV. Brent laughs and mockingly wishes them good luck. Okay, but now back to the main issue. Sako calls out Sean O'Connor, the GCW World Champion himself, the King of the Galaxy, Reaper X, and Brad Iceman Harris, who also, by the way, was the last man eliminated in the chamber match. And they all come out to the ring, and then they're followed by the entrance of the owner of GCW himself, Yankee Boy 50. So Sako decides to let each man plead his case. Reaper X says that he didn't make his way through a 6-man elimination tag at Retribution and 4 other men at a tournament all for nothing, let alone have to fight a sore loser again at No Way Out. Harris's case is that he says, with all due respect to Reaper had time off. Harris made an impact on his re-debut, defeating world champion Sean O'Connor right away and having to work his way through the grueling process of the Execution Chamber. And though he didn't come out on top, just coming that close after his re-debut already makes him a primetime player. He then turns to Sako and says, faster than Christopher Wonder. Ooh. Then Sean O'Connor takes the mic, meanwhile, And he decides that it doesn't matter who he fights, there is no one in his league, and that Sean O'Connor will always be the best because Sean O'Connor is that damn awesome. Sean O'Connor also mentions that Reaper X and he were the defending champions at last season's Bound to Victory, while Brad Harris is just returning, and that Reaper X is the man who Sean O'Connor pinned back at Revolution Rebirth to become the first undisputed world champion. So now Yankee has made a decision. That's right, not Sacco. Yankee made the decision. He's had enough, and he pulls a Vince. And this is what he announces. Both Brad Iceman Harris and Reaper X will receive their respective title matches. Tonight, however, they will face off in the main event to decide who will get his title match first. The winner of tonight's main event will face Sean O'Connor next episode for the World Championship. Then the loser of tonight's match will then get to face the GCW World Champion the following episode, episode 12, the last before the Ultimate Rumble. In other words, tonight it's Reaper X versus Brad Harris. The winner will get to face Sean O'Connor next week for the World Championship. And the loser of the match tonight will meet the winner of the episode, the winner of the match next week, episode 11, on episode 12. And episode 11 and 12's matches will be for the GCW World Championship. And these matches are ultimately only going to decide who will walk into the Ultimate Rumble as GCW champion, where the three of them will ultimately meet up in a triple threat championship match. However, there will be no rematch clauses accepted after that match. This is because Yankee Boy 50 has promised the winner of the GCW title match at the Ultimate Rumble will meet the winner of the Ultimate Rumble match at Bound to Victory, which, by the way, for the first time in GCW history, it will not be a 30-man. Yes, in TWA and GCW, we had 10-man Rumbles, 20-man Rumbles, 30-man Rumbles. Not this time. For the first time ever, it's going to be a 40-man Rumble. And Yankee guarantees at the conclusion of the Ultimate Rumble CPV, we will know the main event of Bound to Victory 3. So, yeah, pretty much that's how it's going to work. Oh, and by the way, what Yankee means is that Reaper X's King of the Galaxy clause and Brad Harris's contract clause are going to be contested for in the next two episodes. Meaning, if Reaper loses his World Championship match before the Ultimate Rumble, and then he loses at Ultimate Rumble, you know that little clause. I mean, like, never mind. I'll have to edit that out. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. Oh, wait, I said Reaper X. What the hell? Brad Iceman Harris. If Brad Iceman Harris loses, and then say he loses again, that's it. I don't know why I said Reaper X. But, yeah, Brad. Basically, you get what I mean. But now he tells Sean O'Connor to enjoy his night off and tell Reaper X and Iceman to go get ready for the true number one contenders match. To solve this issue, there will no longer be two number one contenders after this match. And speaking of match, the very first match, Brock defeats the Disco Kid. Brock basically just destroys the living crap out of him. And then there's an interview. The tag team champions, Maximum Max and Sheamus McCoy, are being interviewed about their successful run as champions. Max says that they've said since the beginning of their teaming that they were unstoppable, and they further proved that No Way Out, defeating who Yankee Boy considers two of GCW's best. Sheamus McCoy then says that Yankee should just give up now because there's simply no one else that could destroy their paths to greatness. Then we go in the ring where Ty Q enters for a match, and Saka 105 comes on the Tron and tells him that he decides he's going to, with Ty Q entering the Ultimate Rumble match, he needs to put Ty Q through some tests. He wants to see how well Ty Q can compete against multiple people at the same time when it's not against people like jobbers, like some jobber, and who the hell is this? Or even Demon Sako and Sakito back in AWF. So tonight, Ty Q will be competing in a 1-on-3 handicap match with all three men being legal at the same time. And with that, TyQ ends up losing to Jack Rocket and the GCW Tag Team Champions Max and Max and Seamus McCoy. Then there's an interview where Dangerous Danny's being interviewed about successfully retaining his hardcore title in the Extreme Execution Chamber Hardcore Challenge match. Danny says he's very pleased about it and has even earned the respect of his opponents. However, Danny wants some more action despite being signed up in the Ultimate Rumble match. Danny knows that at this time, legends and alumni either return briefly or superstars make their return. Therefore, Dangerous Danny is issuing a Hardcore Championship challenge at the Ultimate Rumble. Okay, breaking the fourth wall. There was a little issue going on with my PlayStation 2, so originally it was going to be a 6-man time limit match, but it's going to be changed. Instead, it'll be a... So going back to not breaking the fourth wall, it's going to be a 20-minute championship scramble match. It's going to be an invitational challenge. Anyone who has held the Hardcore Championship before, even for a measly 5 seconds, can enter the match. Moving on from that, we actually have a match for the GCW Light Heavyweight Championship between Cody Hawkins and the former champion, Pretty Fly Jason Skies. Cody Hawkins won the title back at No Way Out. And that match goes to a no contest because Jack Rocket interrupts the match, saying he should receive a championship match, and he takes out both men. He says the championship should not be held by some BYU loser, and the challenger shouldn't be somebody who Rocket has destroyed before. Sako then appears on the Titantron, agrees, and decides that next episode it'll be a triple threat match between Rocket, Skies, and Hawkins for the Light Heavyweight Championship. Then we have a non-title match between Lubu and Napoleon, and Lubu ends up picking the victory. After the match, Lubu cuts a promo saying how he feels back on top after defeating 5 competitors in an execution chamber. However, he is attacked by Jacob Smith and Nightmare, and then Jacob Smith, following the attack, proceeds to call Lubu a crummy little chink. And for everyone at GCW, I would like to apologize on the behalf of Jacob Smith's comments. Then we go backstage to a TV where Sean O'Connor is focusing on the upcoming main event, which is right next, the main event, the number 1 contenders match between Harris and Reaper X. And the match ends when the referee is out. Sean O'Connor comes out with a chair, and then he pauses for a moment. And it's like he could either hit Brad Iceman Harris, or he hits Reaper X, and he ends up hitting Reaper X, and then he tells Iceman, "You're welcome." And then Brad ends up pinning Reaper X. So next episode 11, it will be Sean O'Connor versus Brad Iceman Harris in the main event for the GCW World Championship. And with that, GCW Oblivion episode 11. The first match is a Fatal 4-Way elimination match featuring EAS Test, Nathan Slash, Stevie T, and the returning Tommy O'Connor. If you didn't know before, back at Rebellion in the elimination tag team match, Tommy O'Connor did suffer an injury, and he did try to compete against Tony McDaniels on episode 7, but it failed, so he was told to take time off. And in the elimination match, basically Tommy O'Connor ends up picking up the victory. Then we go to an interview where Sean O'Connor is interviewed, and he's being asked why he got involved in the main event last episode and nailed Reaper X. Sean O'Connor says it was just a choice of like instinct. He didn't want to bore everyone with yet another Reaper X and Sean O'Connor confrontation, which has been seen plenty of times in the past few years. Meanwhile, despite facing Iceman recently, it is an advantage because he knows what Harris is like, and now Harris is warned to be ready for Sean O'Connor. Backstage, TyQ confronts his brother, Stockman 105, in the GM office, asking Sako what he has up his sleeve this time. And Sako tells TyQ that the test this episode will be to see if he can handle being in the ring with big-name talent. This time, however, not 1-on-3, just 1-on-1. So Sako decided on someone in particular, who needs a warm-up for a big match that he has himself at the Ultimate Rumble CBV. So tonight, TyQ will go 1-on-1 with Brent Thompson in a no disqualification match. And then is the Light Heavyweight Championship Triple Threat match between Cody Hawkins, Jason Skies, and Jack Rocket, and Cody Hawkins ends up retaining the title. Then there's a small promo with the announcement that Joey Thompson is going to return next episode. And then we cut to an interview with Lubu, who's being interviewed about the attack by Jacob Smith on the last episode. Lubu says he has no idea what could be going through Smith's mind that could cause this, and then Jacob Smith once again attacks Lubu. Then there's a non-title match. Sheamus, McCoy, Max and Max defeat the Brooklyn Boys. Backstage, Sako decides that 6 of GCW's biggest superstars will compete in a 6-man over-the-top World Battle Royal Challenge, set to take place right now. And it's Mind Freak versus Quicksilver versus Mr. Amazing Ronnie Stevens versus King AJO versus Steven Viper versus Ben Hitman. And I forgot to tell you where we're from again. God damn it. So let's cut away for just 1 second. This is episode 11. It's in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Oh yes, that's right. Now I remember why. Ben Hitman ended up winning this match, and the crowd went hysterical for Ben Hitman because he's the hometown guy. That's right. That's right. I was saying crowd hysterical, Ben Hitman went to oh, yeah, because it's in Calgary, so that makes sense. Anyway, moving on. So, Jacob Smith is being interviewed about his recent actions, especially because his remarks about Lubu on the first attack have offended many Chinese audience members. And then Smith says he doesn't give a fuck who he offends or hurts. He promised that the name Jacob Smith was going to be remembered throughout GCW. It started by getting rid of Shane Jones once and for all, and now it'll continue with Lubu and the Global Championship. He announces his challenge, nay, his demand, for a Global Championship match at the Ultimate Rumble CPV against Lubu. Then it's the no disqualification match between Brent Thompson and Ty Q. And Brent Thompson is about to win the match, but suddenly the music of Joey Thompson hits, and Brent Thompson is distracted. And then suddenly Ty Q gets up and he's able to nail Brent Thompson with that neck breaker of his, and he ends up getting the pin on Thompson. And then after the match, we go backstage and we see a very pissed off Sako 105. And then we go backstage again to Brad Iceman Harris, who's warming up for the World Championship match, which is next, when Reaper X comes in from behind him. He congratulates Harris, but tells him he wouldn't be competing if it weren't for Sean O'Connor. However, since Brad Iceman Harris is his friend, Reaper tells Iceman he isn't going to protest the outcome. He just wishes Brad the best of luck. And should he win, Reaper also gives a warning for next episode. Because remember, since Reaper X lost, the winner of tonight's match will get to meet Reaper X next week in the main event for the World Championship. And in the main event of episode 11, Sean O'Connor ends up defeating Brad Iceman Harris. Reaper X does come out and he tries to get involved. However, instead of hot-shotting Sean O'Connor, he ends up hot-shotting Brad Iceman Harris, all by mistake. And that allows Sean O'Connor to nail a GTS and gets a 3 count. So that's GCW Oblivion episodes number 10 and 11. Okay, but now it's time for the big thing. What the hell has been going on in NCG? Otherwise, most people know it as SOT2, but yeah, basically. Okay, let me give you guys a couple of quick reminders as to who is who on the show. Ace O'Neilly is the rookie of Steven Viper. Emo Extreme is the rookie of Cody Hawkins. Ryan Riley is the rookie of Ben Hitman. Mr. Cooler Than You, Rob Ken, is the rookie of Ken Brington. Captain John Wolfer is the rookie of Tommy Ryan. Mr. Money Daniel Fonto is the rookie of Shane Jones and Jacob Smith. Kabuyuki Hidoko is the rookie of Mr. Canada. And Gordon Batts, with Roberto Ibanez Sanchez as his manager, is the rookie of Tony McDaniels. And then after the first 3 episodes, Mr. Cole and you, Rob Kent, was the first person to be eliminated. And after his elimination, he ended up taking out Ken Brington. And Brington is still injured until now. But also, because of what happened at Retribution, which was after episode 3, because episode 4 was where we left off, Shane Jones is replaced by, what's his name? Nightmare, as one of the pros for Daniel Fonto. Alright, so here we go. Let's get back into it. So first, for each episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read off the matches and the results, and then I'm going to go to the challenge results, like who finished in what place. And then I'll tell you if there was an elimination at the end of the episode. Okay, so here we go. NCG episode number 4. The first match is Gordon Batts taking on Kabuyuki Hidoko and Captain John Wolfer, which is won by Gordon Batts. Then Daniel Fanto takes on Emo Extreme, which Daniel Fanto wins. And then Emo Extreme attacks Daniel Fanto after the match. And then the main event is the finisher challenge, Ryan Riley versus Ace O'Neilly, which Ace O'Neilly ends up winning. As for the physical challenge, it was the garbage can carry. Gordon Batts finished in first, Ace O'Neilly finished second, Ryan Riley finished third, Captain John Wolfer finished fourth, Daniel Fanto finished fifth, Emo Extreme finished sixth, Kabuyuki Hidoko finished last. And there was no elimination. Episode number 5. Gordon Batts and Tony McDaniels take on Mr. Canada and Captain John Wolfer. Batts and McDaniels win. Captain John Wolfer takes on Tommy Ryan in a special rookie versus pro match. No storyline or anything. It's just a rookie versus pro match, special match, and Tommy Ryan wins. Jacob Smith and Daniel Fanto took on Emo Extreme and Cody Hawkins. Smith and Fanto won, and then Emo Extreme attacked Cody Hawkins, his own pro. And then the main event, Ben Hitman with Ryan Riley at ringside took on Ace O'Neilly with Stephen Viper at ringside, and Ace O'Neilly won. Is that right, Matt? Yeah, that was it. Oh, thanks to Stephen Viper. Stephen Viper got involved. And then... Oh, hello. Are you good? Okay, I'm good. Okay, episode 5 was a promo challenge about basically who was their influence. Ryan Riley won and finished first. Gordon Batts finished second. Ace O'Neilly third. Daniel Fanto fourth. Emo Extreme fifth. Captain John Wolfer sixth. Kabuyuki Hidoko last. Alright. Episode number 6. There were only 2 matches. First match was Ben Hitman, Cody Hawkins, and Ryan Riley take on Emo Extreme, Stephen Viper, and Ace O'Neilly. And a team of Emo Extreme, Stephen Viper, and Ace O'Neilly ended up winning. And then the main event was Gordon Batts and Daniel Fanto taking on Kabuyuki Hidoko and Captain John Wolfer. Batts and Fanto ended up winning. And yes, Fanto to this point is still undefeated. And then we had the running challenge, which is basically just a run around the arena. Ryan Riley finished first, Ace O'Neilly finished second, Daniel Fanto finished third, Gordon Batts finished fourth, Evo Extreme finished fifth, Kabuyuki Hidoko finished sixth, and last place was Captain John Wolfer. There was once again no elimination. Episode number 7. The first match is Kabuyuki Hidoko and Mr. Canada taking on Tony McDaniels and Gordon Batts, which Kabuyuki Hidoko and Mr. Canada shockingly win. Then it's Tommy Ryan and Captain John Wolfer against Jacob Smith and Daniel Fanto, which Smith and Fanto win. Ben Hitman and Ryan Riley take on Ace O'Neilly and Stephen Viper, which Ben Hitman and Ryan Riley win. And then the main event is a hardcore match between Emo Extreme and Cody Hawkins, which Cody Hawkins wins. And this episode's challenge was what do you think of your pro? Alright, obviously, I'm going to tell you who was last place right away. Emo Extreme, because he had a problem with his pro. But, Ryan Riley finished first, Gordon Batts second, Ace O'Neilly third, Daniel Fanto fourth, Captain John Wolfer fifth, Kabuyuki Hidoko sixth. And there was no elimination. And I believe we're up to episode 8? Yes. And there was no challenge because this is an elimination episode. So here are the matches. Ace O'Neilly took on Gordon Batts and Daniel Fanto in a handicap match, and Batts and Fanto won. Ryan Riley took on Captain John Wolfer. Ryan Riley won. Emo Extreme took on Kabuyuki Hidoko, and Kabuyuki Hidoko wins. And then episode 8, the standings. Alright, so here's the pro poll, or whatever it's called. First place, Ryan Riley. Second place, Gordon Batts. Third place, Ace O'Neilly. Fourth place, Daniel Fanto. Fifth place, Captain John Wolfer. Sixth place, Kabuyuki Hidoko. And Emo Extreme finishes last and is eliminated from NCG. So Emo Extreme is eliminated after episode 8. Okay, so now we move on to episode number 9. And the first match is Gordon Batts taking on Daniel Fanto, and Gordon Batts wins and ends the undefeated streak of Daniel Fanto. Afterwards, Jacob Smith yells at Daniel Fonto after the match for being a complete failure. And then Captain John Wolfer takes on Ryan Riley. Ryan Riley wins in a rematch from episode 8. And then the main event, Kabuyuki Hidoko takes on Ace O'Neilly, and Ace O'Neilly wins. And this was the ladder challenge. Basically, it was kind of like an endurance thing. Who can stand on a ladder with more balance? You get the point. Ace O'Neilly won the challenge. Then Ryan Riley finished second. Daniel Fonto finished third. Gordon Batts finished fourth. Kabuyuki Hidoko finished fifth, and Captain John Wolfer finished last. Then we go on to NCG episode 10, which is a special Rookies versus Pros edition. All the matches are the rookies taking on the pros. And there are 5 matches, I believe. Or is it 6, excuse me, I counted wrong. First match is Gordon Batts taking on Tony McDaniels, and Tony McDaniels wins. Then it's Captain John Wolfer versus Tommy Ryan. Tommy Ryan wins. Kabuyuki Hidoko takes on Mr. Canada, and Kabuyuki Hidoko picks up the upset victory. Then it was Ace O'Neilly versus Steven Viper, and Viper and Ace O'Neilly and Steven Viper decided to be cheap asses, and Viper did the whole finger poke of doom, and Viper laid down for Ace O'Neilly, and Ace O'Neilly won. Ben Hitman versus Ryan Riley, Ben Hitman wins, and then Daniel Fonto versus Jacob Smith in the main event, and Daniel Fonto wins by disqualification after Nightmare interferes. But now it's episode number 10, and what challenge is it? Oh, the GCW Trivia Challenge. And basically this is what happened. Ryan Riley finishes first, Ace O'Neilly second, Daniel Fonto third, Gordon Batts fourth, Captain John Wolfer fifth, Kabuyuki Hidoko sixth. Basically because Kabuyuki Hidoko can barely speak any words of English. But now episode 11 comes, and it's announced that episode 11 is going to be a double elimination. So 2 people are going to go home this episode. And here's the match card. First match, Ace O'Neilly versus Captain John Wolfer. Ace O'Neilly wins. Then it's Gordon Batts versus Kabuyuki Hidoko. Gordon Batts wins. Ryan Riley versus Steven Viper. Ryan Riley wins. Daniel Fonto versus Nightmare, and Nightmare wins. And here's the elimination poll. Coming in first place. Wait, did I read the... Yeah, okay. For coming in first place, Ryan Riley, once again. Second place, Ace O'Neilly. Third place, Gordon Batts. Fourth place, Daniel Fonto. And therefore, Kabuyuki Hidoko finished fifth, and Captain John Wolfer, who finished last, are both eliminated. So Captain John Wolfer and Kabuyuki Hidoko both eliminated. And then the final episode up to now is episode number 12 of NCG, which is one match. It's a fatal 4-way match. It's an elimination match. And it's Ryan Riley versus Ace O'Neilly versus Gordon Batts versus Daniel Fonto, a.k.a. the remaining 4 rookies. First of all, Ryan Riley is the first eliminated by Ace O'Neilly. Then Ace O'Neilly is eliminated by Daniel Fonto. Then Daniel Fonto is eliminated by Gordon Batts. And that means Gordon Batts wins. And afterwards, Smith once again yells at Daniel Fonto. And then Batts gets a surprise for winning. Because Gordon Batts won, he is announced as the entrant for NCG in the Ultimate Rumble match. So there's another person announced for the Ultimate Rumble. It's Gordon Batts. He'll represent NCG. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Hopefully you took that all in. If not, you can rewatch the video over and over again. But until next time, I'm TJ Yankees 1, and I'll see you on Oblivion episode 12. Oh, by the way, after Oblivion episode 12, I'll do the normal. I'll upload what the match card is supposed to be for the Ultimate Rumble CPV, and then I'll upload the CPV itself. Okay, peace.